Hello everybody, my name is Napoleonic and I write games for fun, so what are we doing today? Today we're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing a preliminary stream, a Redux preliminary stream. Been a while since we've done one of these, actually. And before I begin, I need to make a decision, everybody. Do I want to drink the Oktoberfest beer, or do I want to drink the strawberry kiwi beer? I do plan on swashing it all down with Hershey's Porter. So we've got a few decisions here. Let's play a game, everybody. Let's play Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo with alcoholism. Yeah, someone said strawberry kiwi. All right, let's right there. Smirnoff, made with real fruit juice. Let's lid popped right off. This was in the bargain bin, so you know it's gonna be good. I don't hate it. I don't hate this beer. It's a little fruity. little fruity, and there's that weird aftertaste to it. This would be really good in summer. That's all I gotta say. Really good in summer. Oh God. So, yes, hello. We are staring at into nothing. Yeah. Oh, the Hershey's Porter is good. The Hershey's Porter is really good. Staring at nothing to see if it looks back. Yes, welcome to Eagles and Rifles, a game about static warfare. For those who don't know what static warfare is, way back in the day, way back in yesteryear, the most optimal idea was to stay in place. This evolved almost directly from the idea that standing in line is the best way of doing things, as it was linear warfare. Linear, not static. I'm very tired currently. I've been drinking fruity beer. This is linear warfare. You literally stand in a line with a rifle, and then you walk at the enemy, you aim, and you fire. Behold, linear warfare. Now, you may think, Notepad, why in God's holy name would anybody want to do this? This seems like the worst possible idea ever. And the answer was, it is. It's a terrible idea. However, when you need the absolute most amount of firepower going in one direction, a full volley is going to be the most efficient way of doing anything. So you constantly want to make sure that you can make your volley the most efficient, especially when you realize these guns were incredibly inaccurate. They weren't really supposed to be, aiming well. We didn't invent rifling, really. And slowly and steadily, people began to realize that you have to literally stand in a fucking line and fire. Fire your gun, bang, you kneel down, you try to reload as they start firing at you, and it's a beautiful disaster area, especially when you realize that, when you really think about, like, what's the caliber of a musket ball? They're 69, they're 69 caliber of a full-on actual musket ball, or usually we're going to be possibly dealing with the 54 caliber 1803 Harper's Ferry rifle. You get shot by a musket, there's going to be a hole through you. Like, you're just fucking dead. Why people did this before it was pike and shot. Yeah, there's like a 3% chance to get shot. God, humanity. Humanity Mordaka period was stupid. Nice. Yeah, it's... yeah, it's... But effectively, you needed to do this because the guns were very inaccurate. They were incredibly deadly. And so you would fire. You would fire and you would pray. This was just the optimal strategy at the time. These evolved, most notably this method of warfare primarily evolved during the the Napoleonic eras, when it was kind of like really formalized, and that's where you get things like square formations. Yeah, if you've ever seen this image here, this is a square formation. You literally get into a square with the boys, and if cavalry charge into you, they're gonna fucking die, because if they hit you, they're gonna be in the middle of the square where they will get shot. You have a full 360-degree firepower. Like, this right here, this little fucking square here was the pinnacle of, like, strategy. This was the meta. And you also had things like straight up just charges. If we look at, like, the War of the Triple Alliance, which the War of the Triple Alliance had, straight up just charges. Like, what's the game plan here? We're going to charge across this field and stab the enemy, because that was a completely valid tactic at the time. This mostly changed during, I believe it was the second during the second Schleswig War? Yeah, right here. This is the second Schleswig War. Because the Prussians did something. The Prussians, the good old Proto-Germans, did something what we would like to call a gamer move. They brought rifling. Yeah, their guns were rifled, which means they were a hell of a lot more accurate. Oh god, excuse me. They were a hell of a lot more accurate, and they could hit harder. And the Danish did not have that. So the Danish were literally having to do breech loading, while, not breech loading, they were effectively using 30-year out-of-date tech at this point against someone who had more numbers and the technological edge against them. There's a reason the Red Cross exists. It's because of this war. It wasn't pretty. It was not pretty for anybody. Everybody just lost. That's the secret there, kids. Everybody just lost. You were Swedish, you kept walking, you were very close to the other guy, then shoot. Yeah, me and the boys on our way to form a human violence cube. Yeah, the holy mecca of guns. Wait, that's illegal. Yes, it's such a violent exchange of just firepower at one another. It's truly a... yeah, the real world friends we got shot along the way. It was a horrible series of time. It was devastating. It was horrific. The conditions were terrible, especially when you started factoring in artillery. You know, artillery that could shoot you and turn you into Swiss cheese. You didn't exist anymore if you got shot by an artillery shell at this point, and or better yet, if they loaded canister shot. If they loaded canister shot, you and your friends and everybody behind you just got turned into cheeseburgers. It was a very fascinating period of history, and fun fact, Eagles and Rifles was made because there are no role-playing games at this hour. You may be wondering, why? Why in God's name were there no role-playing games during most notably the Napoleonic era? You kind of look at the idea of the Napoleonic era. This is the early 1800s. Why were there not why aren't there any role-playing games during this time? What's going on? What's happening? Isn't that the fun times? Isn't that... What about pirates? The golden age of pirates, everyone. When's the golden age of pirates? Oh my goodness, look at all this stuff. Oh, 1730. Oh, 1800s. 1800s is part of that era, which is very strange. Normally, most of the time when people say, oh, this is set in the 1800s, normally what they mean is it's going to be steampunk. It's just going to be steampunk, or it's going to be cogfop, or it's going to be something else. Tabletop role-playing games in this era are relatively rare. Warfare, funny, like British were most constantly by American guerrilla tactics. Yes. Yep, and yet hilarious, the French did manage to do that because that was the way that you fought. Steampunk is already Victorian era. That's the problem as well, is that people were like, oh, well, it's about the same time. No, like early Napoleonics, like there's like, like if you do Napoleonic fantasy, it's this one, the Powder Mage. This is really the only thing I've been able to find anything about. It's the Powder Mage saga. People really like Powder Mage. There is actually an RPG, if I recall correctly, Powder Mage TTRPG. This is it. It's Savage Worlds, mind you, and it's I've heard people like it. Flintlock fantasy, that's what they call it. Yeah, you kind of see this a little bit. This is pretty much the extent of role-playing in this era. It's not really a time for that. But you want to know who really likes Napoleonic era? I'm going to give you a secret here, everybody. It's wargaming. Wargaming loves its Napoleonic era. It adores it. You can find just about any scale of Napoleonic warfare. You can get pretty long, you can get pretty large, you can get pretty small, and you even have things like this, and you even have arguably the absolute birth of wargaming was built around this. Was built around this era of conflict. I don't know what the fuck this is. Was kind of built around this era of wargaming. Yeah, Napoleonics defined wargaming. You kind of see all that, the very linear warfare, everyone's kind of moving their boys around. This was the definition of it. This was it. And it really is. If you really bring up, historical wargaming, you are either making a reference to World War II stuff, or you are making a reference to Napoleonics, or in that era at least. It's probably the most popular, easily the most popular. Napoleonic, Victorian era, and Franco-Prussian War happened very close to one another. Yes. Like, it's one of those things where you don't really realize, like, Napoleonics were, you know, like, Napoleon's era directly led to things like the Victorian era, which led to the Franco-Prussian War, which led to the War of the Triple Alliance. There were, like, this entire, like, era of just guys standing in line, and for us Americans, you probably have heard of the Civil War, for example. If you type in Civil War, this is the first thing that pops up for a lot of people. You kind of see this, and same era, same idea. It's very fascinating. There really isn't any tabletop games around this era, though, except Victorian. Victorian, usually there, but again, it's anytime you deal with, like, oh, it's Victorian fantasy, it is almost always with a little asterisk. It's steampunk, it's robots, it's there's always like a thing there that's like, it's not really about the era, it's about something else. We just want to restrict it in some way. And if there is, cool. I would be interested to find out about it. Is this the Portugal game? Yes. Eagles and Rifles was almost purpose-built to try to do stuff in this era because I thought it would be interesting, and people said it couldn't be done. You're right here. A Napoleonic RPG is impossible, one add-on said. The very line which made me put Eagles and Rifles on my list. Yeah, it's I do kind of, you know, talk about it a little bit. You know, time of epic battles and larger-than-life men fighting for their lives and country. Massive changes in the world came about. These worlds forever changed, but we hardly see it. You know, it's the latest that appears is usually the Renaissance with some early 1600s tech, and there's some good measure. Piracy dominates the 18th century, but there's this notable gap in the late 1700s, early 30s, when Victorian era steam foppery takes control. That's really, it's kind of the basic idea, was like, how do you do this, and how do you make this entertaining? Yes. That's the game plan, effectively. God, let's get into it, I guess, because if you haven't been here before for a Redux stream, I love how this was born out of pure contrarianism to a random on the internet. Yes, it's always been one of those fascinating. What the fuck is a wand? It's always been one of those, like, fascinating minutes, like seconds, where you sit there and being like, I want to do this because nobody else has seen this before. Also, I would like to, I completely forgot, I would like to thank Trazen the Definite. Yes, Trazen the Definite for following. Thank you. Please do not steal my things. But so let's oh boy, more lore, better lore stuff and things. 321 and 3210 imperial year, the 20th year of his reign of His Majesty Juan Branga IV, and the former imperial prince in tatters. Hey, I googled who is this Spanish? I have you know, I asked legitimate Brazilians of what would be appropriate names. It's mostly Iberian, but Portuguese does bring his way. Century prior, the Emperor Afonso Rebelo X attempted to rescind the rights of the princes in a daring move to consolidate power, which led to widespread civil unrest and eventually war. You know what I can do? He asked Brazilians? Zhao, all right. Hey, I'm all for improving the lore. Let's improve the lore, everybody. Zhao, Branga, and the former imperial prince of tatters, Emperor Afonso. Yeah, I tried to deliberately to make it like, yeah, the emperors are a little bit weird in naming. Let me open up Chat GTP, Chat Open AI. Hello chat GPT. Hello chat GPT. Hello, how can I assist you today? I need grammar correction. I need grammar correction. Can you do it? I have to. Please correct the grammar of the following. If there is any instances of passive voice, please mark it at the end of the sentence as passive voice. Let me see. Please reiterate. Please summarize any major changes. Please summarize any major changes you did to the text. Okay, so after Afonso was forced to abdicate, the successful civil. That's a decade, the Branga family was placed on the throne, but the damage was already done to the imperial image. Capitalize that. Imperial image and lineage. The Estado Imperial, the imperial state. The imperial state was fractured and more aristocratic nobility, and the more of the aristocratic nobility were given rights far outweighed from their previous powers, including the right to have major electors, and powerful princes claimed the title of king in their lands. Let's see, after the death of Emperor Tristão Branga II, his Imperial Majesty Yao Branga IV was forced into a war against the state of Kosovaria, under the Duchess Kosovaria, Bianca Vamlel, sought to claim territory outside of her domain. After 2 bloody years of war, the Elector Magistrate of Amararia, Luis Branga, cousin to Juan, declared himself king and invoked privilege of succession. This prompted the imperial state of Cordoberia and Prata Vento to break away as well, declaring their own royal lines with local kings. Emperor Yao was forced to sign a peace with the Vamlel family, allowing her to seize control of a handful of princes in her domain, as well as allowing her to leave the Estados a free nation. A decade after the event, the emperor still sits upon the throne, but more of a figurehead as the Principado Estado Imperial, the imperial state of princes, band together for mutual assistance against growing tensions of their neighbors, all while the world watches in wonder as the strongest empire in the world crumbles in a few short years. Right? That we do. Hello, ChatGPT. Hello. Please correct everything here while that's going. Why small talk with AI? I always do that. Zhao. You missed a one. I missed a one. Where's the one? Ah, cousin to Juan. Cousin to, Yao. Yo boy. Always make small talk with ChatGPT. ChatGPT will be your savior. Let's see, centralized under the rule, the Estados Imperial, the current situation in the old world is that of disunity and distrust. The Velha Estado Imperial, the old imperial state, united the continent's dozens of ethnic groups under a single flag and protection and prosperity, though with the recent wars being kicked off and the territory up for grabs, each of these new nations struggled to maintain power. We do this, please do this, we do this. Because I could hire an editor. On the other hand, I could just not hire an editor and rely on the magic box to do what I wanted. Thank you, magic internet box. See, if I want to be efficient about it, I do this. New nation struggled. Okay, Mauritania. Jewel of the Imperial, large tracts of land for seasonal farming, rich natural resources, as well as large population, fought more than anything. Now the state was really fully explored due to the thick jungles of the west blocking most heavy transport after years of imperial rule. Technically, this. The audience choose a place. Luis Branga. Useful disposition and care about the land which he managed. Of the hundreds of princes of the land, most hailed from Iranian backgrounds or families willing to create the state. Rich in land and poor in order, with petty familial struggles now being forefront politics. Terrian wife, state of Kosovaria, if you can't tell what the hell the Kosovarians are. Crownlanders. Borderia. Vento. This is just literally a picture of Argentina, by the way. Glorious Vento. Is a gih. No wait, that was called, yeah, Scribble do not use ChatGPT. Only ethical and also polite. No, Pat. No clue what you do. Who you are, Draka. Magic Box is good. Yeah, everything is assistance requested. Again, we're just being nice. Be nice. Be cool. I can never roll my R's. Yeah, Vento was effectively Argentina. I wonder if do I still have the map in here? Lusitania, formerly Free City. Yeah, I also made the Kralik of Ria Taconia. This one's a little bit funny because I made Britain. Britain's actually a part of this, except the Britons are actually just Turks. Picture Britain, but also Turkish. That's the Ria Taconia. It's great. For 3 centuries ago, a powerful king united his people into religious and cultural unity. Ocean-going state that has expanded far into the New World. Kral, the radiant Kumarianki III, has set his eyes on the ancient enemy, the started imperial, not conquest but simple dominion. Domain extends far into the old world, which allows them near limitless access to resources that fractured imperials now crave. Valcona and Alclay. Yeah, Valcona and Alcay are literally an island of just sadness. It's just Spain fighting each other. That's the only thing that's different with them. Svengard and the Samites. Here for the Svengard prefer to colonize their own lands, form their own nations. The lords of Svengard actively encourage. There is no Samite state, simply a collection of disparate people living on whatever rock they manage to find, calling themselves a kingdom and trading what they find. Yeah, the New World of Terraferia, yes, literally just the New World. Spice Islands. Federated Cities of the New World, Barsangoza, Republic of Nova Casa, of Unlascania and Bahadadiri. Who you are. Yes, in this dangerous new world, the characters take the role of military officers and officials fighting the safety of their people and lands. Rifle and cannon, each man in fight side by side in strict formation to maximize its firepower and effectiveness. War is inevitable, but victory must be attained. Alternatively, a character take the role of an Ogre company, named after the bastardization of Ogre mercenaries of the Samites. Ogre companies are small private armies that are funded by local princes or themselves, hired on dangerous missions to bolster forces of the New World. Yes. Contain 2 to 3 battalions, a handful of cavalry. Okay. Okay. We're gonna need to fix this up pretty aggressively. Hey, I'll have you know, the Great Lusitania, that's clearly France. Mexico, die. Yeah, Wuso said that he would do flags for all the nations, so I'm holding Wuso to that, by the way. The horse-hooded cities. Honestly, that's pretty standard. I literally use Google Translate. So what would be the federated cities? Oh, how would I properly write this? Oh my Portuguese. Oh, it is actually right. Go me. Okay, the October beer ale lager. Yeah, that's pretty decent. A little lighter than I was expecting, but it works. No, that was just the flag I found. Yeah, this is the old imperial. It's the imperial Mexican flag. Because that's effectively who. That's effectively these guys, the federated cities. Barson Goza is supposed to be a kind of like it's like its own cute little Cuba. Nova Casa, New Home. Yeah, these ones are just everything is sad. Everyone is sad. Okay, so we want to do... Yeah, we're going to need to bump up the theme and purpose here a little bit. We're not really fixing anything too hardcore today. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna need to. Can I put a secondary note on this? Be sure to give you GM players a unique, fun name. It's an action with a chance of. Why do I capitalize these things? Chance of failure. Or is in opposition to another. They roll set d6s depending on their attribute and modifiers. I really liked my capitalizations. I still do. Attempting to hit target number for a success. No, target number TN for a success is referred to as a check. Multiple successes may be required to pass certain checks. Abbreviation for a dice check is DCXY. DCXY, which will be used to determine considered a success. And how many successes are needed. Why? A character can score multiple successes on a single die by scoring value +2 for the goal. For example, successes on a 2, rolling a 4 on a dice is 2 successes. Success is on a 2, rolling a 4 on the die results on 2 successes. Result is 6, then 3 successes are scored. Difficulty, complexity. Yeah, so generally speaking, like if something is very easy, it's just really complex, it might be written as something akin to like DC25, which is you need 2 up to succeed, but you need 5 of them to do it. It's just hard to do. It's just very complicated. I like them too because they mean something. Yeah, it's the idea behind D6s. We'll get to why that's. Yeah, I did go up here a little bit to do stuff. So creating the Ogre company. You know what? I'm gonna actually make a note here. Refocus entirely. Ogre companies go a bit more in depth about mercenary, about their culture. But yeah, effectively the idea I want to I want to make this game, you are an ogre company. You are effectively a bunch of mercenaries gathered together to charge at the enemy. You are expendable. Run to other lords, military discipline, and additional fighting men. Our companies are very close and can recruit anyone willing to fight on the front. Distinct entities: the command staff of the soldiers, command staff, the command staff of a brigade or brigade of infantry or squadron of cavalry. An essential part are the essential parts of the force that allow them to continue the fight even in the most dire of circumstances, issuing orders and keeping their soldiers alive. Each player will take the role of 3 different characters: the lieutenant colonel, which acts as the main driving force behind the unit, and 2 majors forming the command hierarchy. The lieutenant colonel meet their demise on the field. One of the majors will quickly take control of the situation. Should all members of the command structure of the unit fall, then the unit will break without organization. This is a very deadly game, fun fact. Each of them is composed of 3 core attributes, which double as both their civilian and military lives. These attributes are randomly rolled to character creation. Fire, mind, direct ability, direct, keep them on target. Also demonstrate acute knowledge and mental prowess the character exudes. Clean this shit up. Yeah, if we do that, we should give characters a little bit more breathing room, because I think that's going to help them in the long run. With each attribute being randomized by rolling a d6. Yeah, so effectively, to make a commander, we'll just say lieutenant colonel, colonel, example. We do lieutenant colonel example. So what's his fire? His fire slash mind is 1. His morale is fucking 1. And his shock and physical is 2. This guy sucks, fun fact. But he gets a +1, so he's going to bump up his shock to 3. Good job, team. Yeah, we're not really good at this whole thing, are we? Each of the command staff will randomly roll military civilian skill. 2d6 skill chart select their highest attribute. Let's see. We want to do 1 and a 2. So 1 we're going to be brutality and agility. There we go. We legitimately have 1. We are very pathetic at legitimately everything we do. We are not very good at this. Yeah, put that as a note. Because effectively what this is supposed to be is anytime you're making a check and you have something that's relevant, you're going to add a d6 to your roll. It's not a lot, but it's allowing you to get a little bit more to work with. Hey, I know lances. I can fight with my lancers really well. I'm good at dueling. I'm a romantic. I deal with peasants well. I deal with the middle class well. I mean, if I really want to, like... There we go. Effectively, this was under the assumption that like the main idea is that your commanders and stuff aren't really that important. They are important, but it's kind of like you being able to like actually guide your soldiers. Because this is like a big thing. A musket ball will kill you. A bayonet stab will kill you. Getting hit by an artillery piece will kill you. Yeah, this is kind of the idea. Like, anything that can kill you, you don't have health in this game. Why would you have health? If you just get shot, you die. This is where the main game comes in. Ogre 500 RQ per commander, per requisition points, for the unit's attributes, manpower, and training of the field. Ogre company is 500 RQ per commander. Shared pool. 4-player group with 2000 RQ. One player may only spend 200 while another will have 200. Leftover RQ can save for future expenditures and replacing the fallen. Pips and powder. Referred to as pips for similar to their commanders. The fighting unit is fire morale and shock to distribute their pips among. So let's say, for example, we've got our lieutenant colonel example. What do we want to make? Let's ask that question. What do we feel like making tonight? Do we feel like making a cavalry squadron or infantry? I'm feeling cav. How about we do a cavalry? Because I just want to be in the cavalry. We'll do a cavalry. We'll do a cavalry squadron. I don't know what we want to make yet, but that's half the fun, right? So we've got 500 good boy points RQ to spend. 500 out of 500 RQs. So we need to determine the amount of pips we have. We want to be a decent. Let's say we're going to be regulars. Regulars, that's going to be 40. Yep, we got 7 pips. We got 7 pips. And we want to be... Yeah, there are a dozen different names for light cavalry. We could probably be... You know what? Let's make dragoons. We're gonna make a dragoon cavalry squadron. So, dragoons cavalry squadron. So if we look at we can distribute. Fire represents. Ooh. Yeah, we need. Clean up this entire section a lot. Actually, that reminds me, I should open up itch.io. Scroll all the way down because eagles and rifles. I actually have eagles and rifles as a. This is actually here. Yeah, this is when I was still using fucking LibreOffice for everything. Yeah, I was using LibreOffice for this. Yeah, little bit painful to remember, but I don't think I made any major changes to that particular one. Yeah, we'll do some dragoons because dragoons are fun. So, yeah, I'm going to clean up this section a little bit because the idea is that everyone's also going to have fire morale shock. So since we have 7 pips to distribute among those 3, we can do something like 2, 2, 2, and like we'll just do like 2, 2, 2, 3. Pretty standard assortment. So we need to get men. So each soldier doubles with the fortitude of a unit. As killed, their fighting ability of the unit begins to plummet as less guns are able to be brought against the enemy. Fortitude averages 0, been wiped out to a man. People will run away before you can do that. So generally speaking, we're gonna spend. Let's have 100 men in. If we have 100 men, that's going to do 100. So that's going to be, if we do 100 soldiers, that's going to be 200 right off the bat. So we got 100 cavalrymen. I can probably adjust the numbers here. Like we need to do like adjust numbers. yeah, generally speaking, the various, you kind of see here, this is kind of like their basic stamina and stuff. It's line infantry is your generic. You pretty much spend 1 RQ per 5 soldiers. You can get a shit ton of men in your individual, like, line brigade. But you need that many. Grenadiers, kind of the same thing. They're a lot heavier, they're a lot hardier. These are kind of like your foot soldiers in a way. These are your light infantry, hence why you get a lot less of them, but they cost a little bit more in some aspects. Because if we go down here, function of units, the arrows, they most firepower, second only to artillery, and numbers. Skirmishers fight with information, prioritizing individual initiative or strict formation. Finally, cavalry form the hammer of the infantry anvil. So, standard kit. 95th Rifle Kit combine the following. Qualities of good soldiers. So, the cohesion must be bought. I do, yeah, we gotta buy the fucking cohesion. So if we do this, stamina. Yeah, so generally speaking, with 100 cavalrymen, with 100 dragoons, we have 100 dragoons. Our dragoons have maneuver 6. Have maneuver 6, stamina 5. They are probably the most reliable. They are probably the absolute most reliable actual, like, guys on the field. But they are expensive. Let's see. Cohesion rod drill. Cohesion breaks down. Well, benefit of cuirassiers then. Are you a completely different fucking font? Yeah, it's weird that these guys are just, like, by default, like, way better than everything. Especially cuirassiers, because cuirassiers take a lot more. Courage and cohesion. As cohesion breaks down, will be shaken from on drill and exude on the battlefield, allowing them to fixie. Between shaken or breaking. Cohesion breaks down, the unit will fall from being eager to shaken, then broken, and finally shattered. An eager unit was at full cohesion and ready to battle. They're being reduced by half their total amount. They will become shaken. At shaken, the unit will take double the attacking unit's morale and pips as cohesion damage. Falling a quarter of their full cohesion, the unit will triple their attack unit's morale pips for cohesion damage. We need to clarify and patch. Cohesion has reached 0 as units shattered and they begin to flee in disorganized fashion, cannot defend themselves. Pretty much the idea. Yeah, it's the original intent. The original intent was to have this be like a little bit like, oh, well, you're going to go here, and then it's going to go here, and then it's going to go here. It was a lot more, the goal was to be a lot more organized and be like, we're just going to break it down for you. I'm going to try to break things down for you as best as I can. It is a little spread out, though. I could probably do this. You got to remember as well that this was a very different looking document. I adjusted the page size. And so things might look a little bit janky in some places. Some of the artwork will probably get replaced. But the idea here is that this cohesion damage, if we select that we're, for example, hardened. That's going to cost us 40. We have, you know, we're 60, 30, 15. We got 60 cohesion. We have one distinct issue. That's how much health we technically have. That's kind of like our over health in a way. If we take, you know, someone, you know, brings up and goes bang. We've been shot. We've been shot at, and we take 10 damage. We take 10 damage. Doesn't seem like a lot, but that's 10 damage to my health. That's 10 men that are dead. And that's 10 damage to our cohesion. But there will be effects that are going to affect our cohesion more, but there might be things that affect our casualties more. That was kind of the idea of the game, was to kind of like reflect its, your men will break before they die. Hence why, you know, becoming unbreakable is actually really dangerous for a lot of situations, which is, at unbreakable, you are not going to break. You can take a fuck ton of punishment and you will stand effectively at full power. The problem being is you can stand effectively at full power for longer, and you're going to lose a lot of men doing that, which men need to be replaced. People don't want to die. Rule number 1 of warfare, always remember, people don't want to die. Yeah, I notice I'm adding in a lot of rules for combat in here, which I could probably reorganize elsewhere. Yeah, this is one weird thing, is that I'm putting the combat section here. Because if we put the combat section here, and then all the way down here, mind you, we're not done yet, by the way. This is where we would finish up making our characters in the equipment section. This is the issue, because this is where we have to actually buy our equipment. You know, it's like starting weapon dragoons. This is one of the main advantages of cuirassiers, if I remember correctly, is that they can get do I really not have anything for cuirassiers? I may need to fix them up. I may need to change them. Yeah, we need to shift this around. We really need to shift this entire. It's a little bit weird because I know why this was made this way. Because if we go here, the idea is that you can equip any weapon pretty much any character you want with, let's see, 240, 280. This is going to bring us down to, we're looking at about 240, so that would be 280. Technically, we should 20, so that's going to be 80. So the entire idea is that, like, hey, we have 100 men we need to do that. We have to outfit each of these men with different, with different weapons in some cases. So if we want to do things like, oh, hey, for our, like, early on, we have early carbines. These are free effectively for us by virtue of having that. If we want to invest in wall guns for everybody, we can't. It's going to be 100. It's going to be fucking horrible. We don't really want to do that. I mean, if we really wanted to be efficient about things, we could probably, if we want to outfit everybody with 0.4, if we do late carbines for everybody, for 100 men, that's 40 effectively. That's bringing us to 40 rec. And so that's going to bring us down to 180. And if we go all the way back down here for melee weapons, we can just start with cavalry sabers. Yeah, there's a few that are a little bit wonky. Because we can start with sabers, because those are free, because they're a starting weapon. And then we can choose to have, like, light armor, cheap, I guess, or exterior equipment. Yeah. 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 Yeah, we need to fix that. We need to fix that a lot. So you can have dragoons with rifles. Yeah. Where's the cow cloth? It's... Yeah, technically that's what dragoons were doing, and you gotta remember this. Like, the traditional, like, dragoon cavalry during this time, you know, during like the Napoleonic Draconic cavalry, were guys who would literally just ride on fucking horses, get in position, and shoot you with a fucking rifle. That was their job. That's what they were supposed to be doing. I was kind of learning, like, yeah, the actual little details behind each of the individual like cavalry units got a little bit wonky. Technically you can make lancers if you want, but lancers were their own thing. Yeah, it's not great. With artillery, you have to buy artillery separately. That's its own thing, which is a thing I need to fix up very dramatically, in fact. Yeah, I need to fix that up quite heavily, fun fact, because it's not very good. War is hell, find themselves and standing in the field, shoulder to shoulder, facing down the enemy, with rifle in one hand and faith in the other. All combat in Eagles and Rifles is conducted during the battles. Wow, past notepad, you're a fucking genius. Connecting during battles between battalions and squadrons, they duke it out for supremacy in the battlefield. Trial of endurance and faith in victory. Fix, please. Anatomy of warfare. During the battle, when two opposing units come into range of one another, they have the option of engaging in combat with the other. Equal to the fire and shock pips of their commanders' fire and shock. Fire is used when engaged in range combat. Shock is used when engaging melee combat. And given the order to attack, the unit rolls d6 and counts the successes they've scored. Range combat, the DC is dependent on the range of the weapons the unit is currently using. In melee combat, the DC is always 2. The number of successes scored by the unit is the number of casualties they've caused the enemy. The opposing unit reduces their fortitude by the number of successes. But I use this term, the number of successes, which may be affected by the intensity scale, multiplying the damage after they are taking. After the damage has been fully calculated, the unit suffers cohesion damage equal to the fortitude damage plus attacking units' morale pips plus modifiers. What? Why? Unit cannot roll more than 10d6 per check. Any excess die that they possess will be directly converted into 1 success for the check. Long shot, 6 up, short, medium. Why are you capitalized? Why are you capitalized? Clean the fuck up, Jesus. As the unit takes damage, it will begin to incur fortitude and cohesion loss. Outside of their loss of life being a tragedy, the loss of men means survivors begin to waver and their less guns being pointed at the enemy. Key ideas behind linear warfare and combat. One of the key ideas behind linear warfare, combat, and Eagles and Rifles is the idea of the intensity scale. Combat intensifies, more tactics are brought out, the multiplier of fortitude damage begins to increase. This is tracked by the number of steps, indicating how far things have progressed. A single step doubles all damage, while 3 steps quadruples it. It goes up to quintupling damage, 4 steps in total. After this has been reached, any excessive steps is converted into free success against the event. Fortitude damage will always be tracked with additional dice and intensity scale, while cohesion damage will be a flat amount added to the final amount. Unit will break before they die. Nani? Yeah, I need to explain this. I need to explain this. Explain. This is halfway through the fucking book, by the way. This is page 23 of 53. Orders in combat. Yeah, like we get to the orders section being like, yeah, here's the entire, like a very important aspect. I don't even explain it very well. Okay, so during the heat of battle, the commander's individual brigades and squadrons are given general orders by the general of the army. While in the field, though, they are expected to keep their men alive and follow the plan. Clean you the fuck up. Each phase of the battle is organized unit subtype: light infantry, foot infantry, cavalry, and artillery. Light infantry will act first, being able to position themselves where they need to. Foot infantry follow the large bulk formations. Cavalry finally coming in third and being able to quickly redeploy themselves where they are needed and organize themselves. Final force to act is the artillery, able to rain down hellish amounts of fire on the enemy who are within range. At the order of each determined with commander, the unit's combined attributes. Pretty much, again, it's light infantry. It goes light infantry, foot infantry, cavalry, artillery. Light infantry is always going to move first. Foot infantry is going to be moving. Cavalry might seem weird, like why is cavalry kind of going after everybody? Because they know where everybody is now, and then they can find them a lot easier. They can move a shit ton. Especially if you have things like artillery who might be trying to run away from cavalry. Artillery is hopeless alone. You will die if your artillery gets attacked. So it's like, okay, like as a cavalryman, you're like, okay, light infantry has presented themselves that they've moved up. Okay, we're going to just sprint at them and kill them. That's the plan. That's the game plan. Sorry, everybody. Commander's turn. They may issue an order to their unit, which will carry out. Commanders will always choose to expend stamina to perform additional orders. Certain. Commander can always choose to extend stamina to perform additional orders, while other actions yeah, this is a little bit awkward to read. So firepower will continue melee with a designated enemy unit within range. Breather. Commander order, take a quick drink canteens, hype themselves up for the upcoming battle. Restore 1d3 stamina, rolls morale, social with DC 5-1, increasing cohesion for each success. Increase the intensity of damage by 1 step. Let's just increase the intensity of damage by 1 step. See, I'm lucky enough. Luckily enough, you know, good old Notepad. See, he's a smart cookie. He's a very smart cookie. Because everything here is already here. I even have a detox on this shit. I have a fucking detox on it. There we go. I'm thinking smart, everybody. Thinking smart. God, I have a detox on this? Jesus. How did I let it get this bad? Okay, so changing formation to changing firing stance, firing habit of the unit. Free fire. Increase the difficulty hit by 1. Grand fire cannot volley fire. Unit fires normally. Yeah, this is, you fire every gun. You're just kind of firing willy-nilly, but you're just getting more firepower downrange. Charge. Order the unit move up to the maneuver and engage in melee combat with the enemy. And have the same hex. I forgot this is on a fucking hex map. Why do I not explain this earlier? Reorganize Centrality's men. Morale social. DC 3-1. Increasing cohesion for each success. Round down away from the battle. Attack, they increase their intensity step by 1 step and add +5 cohesion damage. So, holding orders and surprise action. Commander can choose to issue their order at a belated time, such as a delayed charge or waiting for a unit to close the distance to fire. These orders are locked in. They cannot be changed unless stamina is expended. Finally, a commander may perform a surprise action, quickly organizing troops to perform any order for 2 stamina during an opponent's turn. Yeah, which is like, oh, you just have no more stamina. Okay. Commander actions. Before or after the order is given, commander may take a personal action to determine where they are and how they're going to be approaching the situation before them. Commander is in danger whenever a unit is attacked. The commander rolls 3d6. If all values are odd, the commander has been shot and killed. Unit takes the commander's morale. Those are times 2 and cohesion damage. A major will then take control of the unit. Spark encouragement. Yeah, pretty much the idea is like the more like encouraging you are, if you do die heroically in battle, people are going to be more broken about it. A little bit awkward to kind of word. Spark encouragement begins yelling at men about their glorious victory and successes that will surely come, depending on the current cohesion. Next check. Restores morale. Cohesion plus 3 for each major to the unit. Like, why is this? Yeah, okay, so raises morale. Shattered. Roll DC 4-1. Success. Shattered. Commander takes out arms next to their soldiers in heat of the battle. Commander's morale. The commander is in danger. Is in danger from. This is incoming cohesion damage by the amount. The commander is in danger from attacks. Commander attempts to rally, broken or shattered troops, surviving majors, grant plus 1/6. Yeah, technically you can start trying to kill your own men to get them to rally faster. Maybe not the best idea, but it is an idea. Formations. Clean everything. Yes, just clean everything. Cohesive wool separates the barbarians from the victors, breaking ranks and failing to follow orders. Little bonus from cover, increase intensity of shock attacks by 1, increase intensity from cavalry shock attacks by 2. These do stack. All fire attacks against the unit have negative 3d6 to their attack, gain +2 maneuver. Over 3 hexes work. Ready for combat. Foot infantry. Standard line. The unit assembles 3 deep line. Ready for combat. After dealing with cavalry. Lose 2d6 to all fire checks. All fire checks against plus 2d6 against the unit. Cavalry loses all charge bonuses. Increase the intensity of cavalry attack unit. Yeah. Fix this entire. We need to fix the entirety of the scale works. Because the entire idea is that, like, any action you do is either going to be kind of shifting that intensity around, where it's like, oh, you're in intensity 3, so now you're taking triple damage from this. But there could be a situation where I'm taking triple damage, you're taking triple damage, and we just murder each other. Cannot move, cannot be flanked. 46 to fire and shock checks. All fire, gain +2 maneuver. Like, why would you ever want to go into a column? Maneuvering. Maneuvering is why you do that. A cavalry formation. Cavalry. Oh yeah, here's the advantage of cuirassiers. They get plus 5d6 to any of their charge checks. Dismount from their horses, ready for combat on foot or in difficult terrain. Spread apart to a trot. A trot, wedge, and dangerous wedge against the enemy with the inherent breaking through, the intent of breaking through. Yeah, okay. Our artillery's always been weird. Because the idea is that artillery is a brick shithouse. They are this incredibly deadly force that operates completely independently of the characters. It's like, oh, like, wait a second. Let's see. Artillery battles are composed of a small number of cannons that can rain down different projectiles upon advancing infantry and cavalry. Artillery works similar to other units, but increasing the range, having spent turn limber and reposition. Can be relatively stationary. A artillery battery can find a shot every other round while in combat, with the battery commander controlling where and when they are being shot. Rather than being composed of individual soldiers, each artillery battery has set cannons that require different numbers of soldiers to operate. It's being engaged. Depending on the shot, the amount of damage that can rapidly increase, as well as increase the intensity of the damage. While constructing an artillery battery, the number of guns in the battery increases the base intensity by 1. Artillery batteries may only have 4 to 10 guns on them due to the sheer weight and difficulty of transportation. An artillery battery. That literally it? So ambush, tricky and guile. Yeah, like this. Outnumbered, overwhelming numbers, rear flank, side flank. Like, I should put flanking. Flanking shouldn't just be here. Like, replace. Fields of Chaos. Battlefield is composed of a section called spaces. Spaces, terrain type. Certain spaces allow the unit to become concealed, which disallows other units firing upon them within 2 spaces. See, like, half of me wants this to drop the map system entirely. The actual, like, grid system. Half of me wants to just scrap that. Because, like, this is the idea, like, you are literally kind of, like, moving along, like, a grid system. Like, part of me is thinking, like, maybe we just do that. And we just kind of embrace maybe, like, an open map. If we do an open map, this may not be the worst idea in this particular situation, because... oh, God. Because the idea of an open map, if we to give you an idea of, like, what that actually entails, it would be, here is the battlefield. This is the battlefield. If I'm here, this is my battalion. I can move this way, or I can be like, oh, I want to move here, and then like this, and I want to position myself here. I have that freedom to move wherever I want, not by like, okay, I have to move along a grid or anything. I've done this once before with Void Haunter, so maybe doing that wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. That perhaps wouldn't be a terrible idea. Actually, I've done it twice. How exactly would it work? The basic idea is you would have a map set up. Like there would just be a map or something similar to that, even a kitchen table. And the idea would be you can move a certain number of inches, of centimeters, or something like that, and that's your maneuver. You're allowed to move that far. Doesn't matter how you do it, doesn't matter what you're doing. Yeah, effectively a war game map. I call it open movement because you can move anywhere. It's open. The disadvantage of that is it's a little bit stranger. it's a little different. But the same, yeah, it would be measuring tape. Most like it would be either having like a measuring tool or measuring implement. I would most likely have to put in some of the rules I did ironically for enough Project Sidewinder, which the main goal would be you never need to have a fucking protractor. That was my call on that one. You will never have a protractor. I refuse to deal with degrees. I can't expect that from another person. But I think like it would fit the tone pretty well. It would fit the idea pretty well of like, okay, I'm trying to like position myself in the correct ways and stuff like that. I think it would work in the grand scheme of things. Perfectly, no, but I think it would work. It would make life a little bit easier. Yeah, it would be measuring tape, probably a ruler though. That would be my suggestion, would be a ruler. Base terrain, like anytime there'd be like terrain issues, I would have to like this entire section, if I do go in that direction, this entire section's getting gutted. Because I've normally have done this only for like fucking pretty much exclusively I've done it for like open maps like space, for example, or if it's not space, it's like the air or something. I mean, but I guess like the basic idea, it wouldn't be bolt action, it's black powder, I believe that's what it's called. Black powder, yeah, it's black powder. But like, yeah, I would effectively be having to like consult black powder most likely of like how they do movement and such. That wouldn't be too bad because again, it's just war game. At that point, it would be pretty much like, how do you represent wargaming in a more cohesive format? And I did talk with the Warlord guys. They were nice. Though, perhaps talking about black powder when I want to, you know, reach out to Osprey maybe was not the best. What the fuck is this? This kind of hits hard, guys. I'm not gonna lie. This kind of hits hard. Let's do a little bit of an. So it would be black powder. Do we have Osprey? Napoleonics. Yeah, we've got Napoleonics, Chosen Men, Skirmish War Game, Absolute Emperor. Yeah, you have Osprey game. We have no fear, everybody. We have Ospreys. Osprey has a game for like everything. It's great. What the fuck is this? Holy shit. Turn-based tactics game? Morale patches? There's prints? What the fuck is this? What the hell is this? Damn, this hits fucking hard, guys. This is hitting hard. You know what? I'm gonna contact. Let's do this. Let's damn. Hi, what are you making? What are you making? I'm just looking at something pretty fucking hard right now. We're going over a game called Eagles and Rifles. Eagles and Rifles is a game I wrote a while ago at this point. And it's a game about Napoleonic warfare, about being in Napoleonic warfare hours of being on the front effectively, being a commander as you fight tooth and nail against, enemies that, on the field of linear warfare. That's kind of the idea. And all of the associated problems that go along with it. Silver Bayonet. So this is your Osprey game. Yes, this is the Osprey. Pretty much Silver Bayonet. If we go to like Silver Bayonet. Osprey. Silver Bayonet, like, if you kind of see it here, like, this is kind of the way that it is. It is clearly a war game, but it looks like it's a lot smaller scale, if that makes sense. It's not like a full-on... I don't want to call it, like, not a full-on war game, but it clearly is kind of doing its own... It's a little bit more of a traditional war game, with like very individual bases and individual pieces kind of moving around on the field. Reminds me a bit of Turnip 28. If anyone's looked at Turnip 28 gaming, how to play, there's fucking solo modes and things like that. Yeah, it's a more of a skirmish game rather than kind of like the larger scale Napoleonics that you traditionally be associated with. You kind of see like right here. Yeah, I don't know what's black powder 865 20. Damn, I've never heard 28mm scorched small team kill starter boxes core rulebook. What the hell is this? Get ready to play close combat, 5 distinct battle spaces, comprehensive history of conflict between war-torn states of war being Quasa. There's cards. There's radial templates. 28mm. 28mm is kind of weird, but $325 for the full whole thing. There's video games. You can do the turn-based tactics version. You can, if you go to the Apple Store, you could buy the game there. What's the trailer for Black Powder Red Earth gameplay? Like, this is like kind of a shitty XCOM game, but okay, yeah, we're looking at some pretty hardcore gaming. I mean, cool. We can buy it on Steam if we want. What, very positive. People seem to like it. $20. Someone's probably going to... I've never heard of this. Yeah, it's 2020. It came out a few years ago. I mean, they've got merch. They've got continuity. They've got books published 2011 to 2012. Jesus. Books 1 through 10. The Monograph. The 8-Bit War. Hyper Notes. The Syrian Conflict. What in God's holy name is this? Huh. Interesting. But yeah, it hits hard. So I will have full control of your destiny. If I can convince Osprey, I will most likely reach out to people who can do things. So people that do minifigs are one that makes a fuck ton of money. One page rules is our basic games, but they have a fuck ton of patrons. All the magic of 2D and 3D figurines and oh god, pixel art. Yeah. Sabotage Notepad and preserve friendship, or help Notepad and keep lamenting dev hell. Decisions. You ain't winning. Yeah, no, it's pretty much what's gonna go on here is that if I can convince Osprey to like me, I will pretty much sell this game to Osprey, and let them do whatever that. Pretty much what it would be is, let's get it up and going. If I can get it into a good place, I'm going to effectively yell at others to help me make it nice and pretty. And luckily, flags aren't difficult. Flags are weird, but not difficult. And that's pretty much how I would do. I actually have a map. Do I have the map still? Because I used to have actually like this full-on like map I wrote up for the entire thing. So I used to be really into map making. It was like this whole thing that I enjoyed. And I haven't done maps in a while because they just take forever to do. Ah. Oh god. Oh god. My toes, my body, my bones. My toes, my bones. My bonesy wonesy. Please the process. You should. No. What I would do is I would go into like paint.net and like do the exterior, like do the continent thing, and then I would go into GIMP. This is when I still had GIMP. And just apply like filters and stuff over it to kind of, not filters and stuff, but kind of like bring it down slower and slower until I would just layer different aspects of the map on top of one another. I got some pretty neat looking maps. I was pretty happy with how I did some of those things. I'm like, this is cool. I'm doing it, everybody. I'm doing art. It just was time consuming more than anything. Most likely, again, if this ever does go well, it kind of depends on like, hey, how do you want this to do? Do you want to make this like Silver Bayonet role playing, or do you want to do like a legitimate Napoleonic war game, you know, kind of war game RPG a little bit here? If we do the latter, if we do the second one, it would legitimately be, hey, I'm going to try to get like a cartographer, like a guy who's just specializes in maps. Like, how much do you want? Or quite literally just just have everybody in the server make their own maps and just assign it to one of the countries. It would be great. But yeah, night fighting is a perfected concept during this era, is equally dangerous for your own force as well as others. Concealed, revealed by a light source. If ambushed correctly, the defending unit increases their intensity by 3 and takes +5 cohesion damage. Indiscriminate hell staves. Guns don't matter who they hit. When firing at the enemy, take care not to hit your own soldiers currently engaged. If 2 units are fighting in melee, then shooting into space will split the damage between the 2 forces. This also applies to cannon fire. Damage bonus is how many more d6s are added to the fire check. Simply reflect the destructive nature of the weapons. Yeah, there aren't many weapons during this time, except like, oh, blunderbusses. Yeah, you can outfit everybody with a blunderbuss if you want, or a wall gun. But the thing is, like, the idea behind setting up your men with wall guns is not necessarily, like, everybody has a wall gun, because this is a wall gun, by the way. They were just massive. You have made a significant investment in your soldiers to have a wall gun for, like, every other, like every 5 men kind of thing, and it's just purely destructive. Completely useless at short range. Like, you have been reduced in value of short range dramatically, but Rifled muskets. Melee weapons, similar to firearm, outside not possessing a range. As long as the unit possessing a melee weapon, the cohesion damage they inflict will always be doubled when the enemy fighters. Take 4 casualties in fight, I will take 8 cohesion. Melee fighting is brutal, bloody, and horrifying to witness. You know, lancing, lancers, maces, pikes, sabers, straight swords. Yeah, sabers for like cavalry is pretty good. Straight swords for are also pretty good. Like I would probably have to redo some of the pricing here. Like that's just going to be kind of its own thing. I will put in things such as air rifles because I like air rifles because I think they're cool. Awkward use the best in time. After every attack, roll 1d6 on a 1. The unit must spend an order to fix, repair, and upkeep their weapons in the field. Was selected during the initial unit creation. One such weapon will be selected as this. Exclusively for infantry. Horseback can be used in horseback successfully. Gory. He kills anyone who stabs. Good luck. Cavalry only, exclusively cavalry. Bayonet has a bayonet already equipped. Yeah, the train individual weapons at point. General just is using it as a unit. Not every soldier is a wall gun, for example. Chunk of men have one separates the unit from the battlefield, forcing them to set up to be effective. Armor on dawn of firearms. So an ogre company tradition is everything, and sometimes wearing armor may be the only thing keeping a unit from being annihilated. Yeah, so it's kind of the idea that using heavier armor, you're actually reducing a little, you know, reduces the number of successes the unit suffers from attacks. But you're losing a lot of stamina, which is, and it's hellishly expensive. But really, the only people who should be using armor are cavalrymen. And if you aren't being a cavalryman, you are probably not the best suited for this. Like you need something else here to kind of give you a little bit of a bump in that regard. Exterior equipment, more. This is, yeah, these are like camouflage. You have canteens. Artillery. All 3 ones can support a small group of guns for personal needs. Each harm, listen to our queue. Ranges and artillery. Certain guns have minimum range represented in parentheses. This reflects weapons' inability or complete ineffectiveness at closer range. Ooh. Mortars, rocket artillery are able to fire indirectly, not requiring line of sight to hit the target. 4 can. Yeah. You want field artillery is how you get by, and it's like, yeah, I have an 8-pounder kind of thing. Or it's like, yeah, you have some basic ammunition that isn't really. Yeah, reduce range by 2. Cannister, carcass, does no stamina damage. All cohesion lost by unit space is tripled. Yeah, then we have the various different campaigns that can occur. Peninsular War, American Australian Frontier Wars. I might keep this the way that it is. Military expeditions in the Grand Campaign. Irregular warfare is kind of one of the stranger ones. Mercenary work is always strange. Colonial expeditions. I might break it down into the idea of like you're either formalized or you're non-formalized. And that has its own kind of issues. Hence why it's like, again, it's hellishly expensive to replace your men. That's kind of the idea. It's very expensive to get your men back to the point where it's really not worth it. Well, you know, training cohesion falls on 50% more. So let's see. As Ogre Company lost his men, suffer attrition, while as RQ from the misadventures, they'll improve themselves and replace equipment quickly. Additionally, by expending the amount of RQ similar to time they were first constructed. However, the costs are different, representing change of situation. Okay, and also need to purchase arms and armor for all new men as well. They do not come as starting equipment anymore. For example, Unit Grenadiers suffered by casualty last conflict and need to replace 30 men. Must spend 30 RQ to recruit the men as well as equip them with long barrel musket, .2, and for 30 men to be replaced. The commander needs to spend 45 RQ. Isn't always good. Training cohesion improvement. Stat cost is the same as the unit creation room. Applies you. Upgrade their so back their equipment, half the RQ cost. Yeah, the BIP system. So what are the ideas? The basic concepts are kind of going into this game to try to overhaul it in a way, is clarifying parts of it, making sure things work a little bit easier, and generally keep things going. It's to make things flow a lot nicer, make things a lot simpler to understand, and allow people to get into the game easier. That's the main goal. How do I get you into the game easier? How do I make sure that you enjoy the game easier? That's kind of the main thing with this one. I don't think it'll be a very long one. I think it'll probably be, we could probably get it done by the end of the week if we really hammer home on things and we don't get bogged down. But it's kind of like, hey, I want to make sure that everything works really nicely, and probably what'll happen is, and then you're going to give it to Osprey. I'm going to send the pitch to Osprey and be like, hello, my name is Diego Montoya. This is my cool game I wrote. Would you like to take a look at it? And would you think about liking to publish it? It falls within your wheelhouse. It is done. It is good. And ideally, you have killed my game. Prepare to die. Yeah. He's making a Montoya joke. Fucking Princess Bride shit going on. But yes, it would be... that would be the goal. It would be to hand it, not necessarily like hand it over, being like, it's all yours, but more along the lines of, here's a game, this exists, I need your help to make this pretty now, or like, I need your help to do this. And Osprey's like, you know what, Notepad? I don't think you're a random schizophrenic on the internet. Have at him. If it goes well, the plan would be, if it goes well, Osprey says, cool, this is awesome. You know, but we need to bulk it up. If we need to bulk it up, what I'll probably do is expand out like how the campaign system work, and kind of like a grander way of looking at things in that regard. Probably a lot more options, a lot more stuff. You will probably see me write my first adventure path, because I don't write adventures or anything like that. I usually don't write anything like that. Normal French may not schizophone. Please publish your game. Yes, like, yes, please, 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 I'm English. Please, I'm begging you. Please, I'm just a little goblin. I've done nothing wrong. Just a little goblin. But yeah, it's that would be the idea. Okay, beer number 2 is done. Good job, team. We've officially drank beer number 2. Also, any game you like, it's fluff for most of it. You write setting stuff from time to time. Have you ever done lore in depth? It's... My usual thing is I don't usually like writing a lot of lore for things, because I really don't know how people are going to use it. Which is like one of the things that I'm going to be making an assumption with this, because like this is not a very extensive amount of lore. This is probably some of the most amount of lore I've ever done for a game, and this is about 10 pages worth of just, not even like 10 fucking pages. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8 pages of lore, and this is pretty damn extensive from what I usually do. I don't like writing like a shit ton of lore, because just it's never really been my thing. Because I'm the kind of person who likes to write games as a, how do I, even when I like world building a lot, I feel like invading people with pages of fluff maybe is not the best idea. World building is fun. Here's the thing. This is always going to be my thing when it comes to like world building and stuff. World building is fun. It's fluff is fun. All of that stuff can really elevate a game as well. The problem that usually happens is someone's going to open the book, read it, and say, I don't like it, and then immediately ignore it. Some games are better at this than others. Rune, for example. Rune cannot be played without its fluff. You need to know its fluff to actually kind of get into the game. Shadowrun cannot be played without its fluff. Exalted cannot be played without its fluff. And that's half the fun of those games, arguably, is learning about the lore, learning about the story. Yeah, Glorantha definitely cannot be played without the fluff. You gotta learn about the game. You gotta learn about that part of the game to get invested. And it's like, yes, this is really fun. You can really enjoy games like that. Other games have like this. I remember there's a few games that you have like settings that you like the fluff and the other. It's a little bit back and forth, because you get things like The Calling, for example. I love The Calling's lore because it was just kind of weird and riffsy enough that I'm like, I'm in. I like this. This is dumb. This is kind of stupid. I like this. But then I see lore like Die's lore, for example. I didn't like Die's lore. We went over this last weekend very much, because I'm like, I'm just not kind of invested in this as much as I would have liked. And it's like, okay, that's always kind of the problem with like lore heavy products, is if you have like something with really deep lore and it's like, okay, we're going 100% in the lore, you got to know the lore to play the game. If somebody doesn't like that lore, they aren't going to like the game. They're going to be like, I don't like this as much. That's why I usually write my games with either the lore being able to be taken out of it, or the lore is so open that it can be used for just about anything. The games that I like pretty explicitly being like, you gotta know the story to make this work, I make a point of telling you about it very aggressively. And like, there's one that like, let me open up my folder, my folders here. You can kind of see, let's see, fuck, that one weird PBT Filipino, Maralika, that's it, Maralika. I did not like Maralika's lore. I tried to like it. I tried real hard to like Maralika's lore, and it just did not click with me. And I think it was because, like, again, I'm not Filipino, obviously. I don't have that, like, connection as much, and he didn't really do a very good job of explaining that connection to me. It was like, it's Filipino, so you should like it. So it was hard for me to kind of get invested as much as I could in it. Versus, oh, hey, I have, you know, or hey, this is great, or anything. And that was kind of like it was like, I can't really, yeah, exactly, like, and to me, again, I don't know Filipino culture. I really don't know that much about the Philippines in specific. So, like, that was kind of like my introduction to Filipino culture, and it was like, oh, like, I'm not super invested into this as much as I should be. But then you get things like, trying to look at the various games I have throughout my my folder that my various folders that it's like, okay, I can kind of understand this a little bit more. Definitely not that. Here's a good example. I'll use this as a good example behind things. Because it is a very good example of the point I'm trying to kind of make here. This is Masks. This is Masks. Masks is a PBTA game by Magpie. It is a game about young superheroes. I'm going to give you all a secret here. I fucking love Teen Titans. I think Teen Titans is the coolest fucking cartoon of my developmental years that I adored. And I liked Teen Titans as a kid because it did not hold your hand, really. It did do some harder. Things did hit hard sometimes. Yo, fucking Robin going through his shit. I was like, damn, Robin. Like, cause you're like, yeah, he's like, oh my god, he's literally me. But then it's like, oh man, I get you. Even like Cyborg being like, damn, Cyborg, you have it rough, man. Raven, damn, Raven, you got it rough. Beast Boy, damn. And then it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, I like Masks a lot more because I like kind of the storyline, kind of I have more investment in it. That's why it was like kind of hard with me, and like Maralika, for example, was it's hard to me to invest in it because I don't know a lot about it, which is always the problem with a lot of these games when it comes to like games with like really heavy settings, which is if you can't vibe with the setting, you aren't going to vibe with the rest of the game. And that's just kind of like an immediate like issue. And I've always kind of associated with that with Chaos Brain, which I need to do the Brains video. One day I will do the Brains video. It's such a bizarre pop psychology bullshit that going over it will get me hate. So I have always been kind of hesitant on it. But I will go over it one day. I might do that in March just to fuck with people. Ooh, I just cracked my shoulder. 3, 2. Ah, right there. Feels real nice. Let's see. What are you looking? BIP system needs like an entire this is effectively a mass combat system. I was obsessed with mass combat systems for a while. I still am. Like, I've not encountered a single mass combat system that I've really enjoyed. Well, more accurately, I've encountered a single one that I enjoy, and it's Barbarians of Lemuria. I really, really like Barbarians of Lemuria. And I think everybody should look at Barbarian. I can't even review Barbarians of Lemuria because it would literally be like it's the perfect fucking sword and sorcery game. Just end video. There is another one that's coming out here soon, I believe. It might already have come out, which is based on the Barbarians of Lemuria system. I'll have to double check which it was a Pulp Arrow one. I'll have to double check exactly what it is. If I can find that one, yeah, I can probably do like a full case on it because I really like that system. It's nice, simple, and very easy. And everything that guy does, I've actually come to enjoy. For those who don't know what Barbarians of Lemuria is, you cretins, this is Barbarians of Lemuria. It's by a guy named Beyond Belief Games, which is just Simon Washburn. It's just one guy. It's Simon fucking Washburn. But like every single thing that he's like put out, I've really enjoyed. Because he was the one who did where are he? Like all of these are actually like various hacks of his different games, but he's actually done different games. He doesn't have it anymore. Because he was the one who did, right here. He did It's a Dog's Life. Which I adore. It's a Dog's Life. I think this one's a really good game, and everyone should look at it. Like, oh hey, he did this one. Like, he's a really talented writer, but he's never really had like any like major bangers really outside of Barbarians of Lemuria, and everybody kind of associates him with that. But like, I think he's very talented, and I think I wish we saw more from him. He have no killer. Exactly. Outside of Barbarians of Lemuria. And it doesn't help that he doesn't name any of his Barbarians of Lemuria editions as like first edition, second edition, third edition. It's like Barbarians of Lemuria Legendary Edition, Barbarians of Lemuria Mythic Edition, Barbarians of Lemuria Heroic Edition. Viral. Fuck no. Viral was an interesting duck simply because he did things for TG when no one else would, and he kind of proved a bigger theory I have about that, which is the idea that a lot of TG products do not go very far. A lot of like the thing like, we used to get shit done. We didn't. TG didn't really get shit done, and what would happen though is a few very dedicated people would get done very consistently, and then when those people left, everybody else wasn't doing it because everybody was waiting for one of those guys to do it. It's kind of a shame, but that's kind of the nature of any group project. Don't you agree? Let's see. Shuffle the. Outnumbering, over-attack, general skill plus 5, point 5 difference. Opt to keep his units in reserve, they will not directly contribute. Large amounts of dice, yes. Pretty much the idea is that you're literally just rolling a fuck ton of dice in this system, so I might have to do some things that are a little bit different. Blood feud. Forces not from the same area dislike the notion of fighting one another, i.e. early civil war. Use it sparingly, mostly for defensive battles. Army has no place to run, it's do or die. No retreat. Home field advantage. Unless home field advantage apply, the situation will come and go, but most of them contribute +3 to the number 3 naturally, but disaster will prompt rapid differences. They both choose the same one, the DC will be 3-1. If they encounter themselves, the DC will face 5-1. Both sides choose the same, even if it's a duel of strength, or 1. Each tactic affects the CV contribution of infantry. Defensive tactics, those ranks protect their flanks. The cautionary events will need defensive beats shock, but lose the skirmish. Skirmish beats defensive, but loses shock. Shock, but loses to defensive. Yeah, it's pretty much like if you have overwhelming foot infantry, you want to be. If you have overwhelming feet, you want to be go on the defensive, because it's like your cavalry isn't going to do anything. But if you have overwhelming cavalry, go skirmishing, or like try to go like shock. But the thing is, they know that, hey, you have a shit ton of cavalry. I'm going to go shock because I think you're going to skirmish. And you're going to immediately get rolled over if that's the case. It's like you're not going to have a good time. Like you were going to get rolled. Also, how did the homebrew thread went? The homebrew thread went pretty well, actually. I wish people would stop stealing it from under my nose, but it happens. I'm glad people are actually like interacting with it. It's hitting bump limit. There are some arguments that kind of spawned from it. I wish people would be a little bit more formal in the OP, but it kind of just happens. I can't control people making it like 10 a.m. Like, I cannot control somebody making it at like midnight and be like, yeah, I'm not going to make a thread this early. And it's like, a day for the month. I'm not going to do it the day before. I said first of every month. And I think it's one of the issues is that people look at it, it's like, oh, well, it's 2 a.m. Like, oh, like, think about it. If I'm like if I'm German, it's already like 2, 3 in the morning for me. It's already the next day. So it's like, oh, well, why isn't the thread up? Well, it's not up because that's, you know, midnight for me. You know, and there's also you, but you need to adjacent overlord the homebrew thread. I pop up into the I pop up to the homebrew thread, and I monitor it. If there's like some clear issues going on, I try to like be a little bit, and I try to make my snarky comments a little bit. But it's like, if people are responding to each other, I tend to not really interfere. I'm very quiet in that regard. Oh no, you became a Janny. I try to be better than normal Jannies, otherwise known as, like, I just try to keep the peace. I usually go on my kind of like longer-winded rants. I try to respond to people who are clearly not being responded to, because that's always been the goal of my contribution to those threads. Is there are let's say there's like 3 people. What'll normally happen if somebody says something fucking stupid, like just completely fucking stupid, they will get the most amount of responses. People are going to respond saying you're stupid. Then you get a guy who posts like a beautiful fucking PDF and everything's perfect and great about it. Then he's gonna get a lot of responses. It's the guy kind of in the middle who's like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Can I get some help? You want to respond to those guys, because those are the guys who are like, I don't know what I'm doing, please send help. Even if they don't respond back, it's like, hey, if you do have questions, do not hesitate to ask. I will do my best, or somebody will attempt to help. With Jam, I guess I gotta ignore the thread. I'll probably post the Jam in the thread, but I will post it in the Jam being like, you got 15 fucking days. Are you ready to be a hero? Are you ready to beat a bunch of are you ready to beat a Redditor? It's really, you are a monster. I am a monster, because it's what it would be more likely. It would be, hey, you are thinking of something. If you are a little bit stuck, or you just want to work on something else while you mull over something, here's a very specific thing for you to work on that will take your mind off of it, and you may be able to see something different. I'm not going to bring up the fact that it's a competition. That's a big thing. I'm not going to bring up the fact that it is a competition. That is for people who are in the server. That's for people who are pretty, I would say, actively involved. I will effectively say, like, hey, do this if you want to really think about something, or if like you don't quite know what you want to do yet, or you're just kind of thinking about something. Play around with this. This is an idea. This is a kickstart the idea. This might be able to help you out with something. This might be able to give you an inspiration with something, or it might just say, hey, here's a weird idea that I've been always thinking about, and now I have kind of like a reason to do it, or I have like a grounding that I want to do with it, which I think is a lot more. I think it's really important sometimes when you've been working on a project, especially for a long time. You know, more than one person's gonna ask you, what the fuck do you mean by PC player mechanics, and call you a faggot. Yes, I'll probably change that little bit. I'll probably change that little bit being like, add a meta mechanic, because I think that was my idea with the PC not player mechanics. Because I didn't want to just say meta mechanics, because I was like, oh, everyone's just going to say meta currencies. I didn't want it to be necessarily just meta currencies. So I was like, oh, player does not equal PC mechanics. This makes sense. Generally speaking, people are relatively positive in the homebrew threads. It kind of backfired. Yeah, it did backfire a little bit. I think everybody kind of knows what's going on now. It's really boiling down to, like, I kind of worded it poorly. Yeah, in my effort to be inclusive, I made it vague. I think that was my issue. I mean, people who care about it are kind of working on it now. or have just said it's cards. You know, one guy's wanting to do a game with Mahjong for some reason. I'm like, all right, Mahjong. We're Mahjong gaming now. It's Kaji gaming. Cool. This is cool. I like this. This is fine. Looking forward to that a little bit. And that'll be interesting. I don't know how. I genuinely do not know how many we will get. I think we're either going to get quite a few, or we're only going to get like 5 or 6. I don't think we'll get a lot of games, and I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with not a lot of games. Sometimes ideas are just a little bit weird, and people just don't have an idea for something. That's perfectly fine. It's to get the noggin jogging. Once the noggin is jogging, you can kind of understand, hey, like, I'm understanding a little bit more of what's going on. I can get this a bit more. I'm understanding. It is the nature of the beast. But let's see. So the CV and count successes if they score more success. Applied 1 damage to a unit, with each unit being able to take 2 damage before being annihilated. Fixed. I might need to rewrite this entire section. Damage distributed in general to their own men. They will bleed on his order and be annihilated should disaster arise. Reserves cannot be damaged until they are committed to the battle. Another sunrise. There's a vast number of men employed either side. Army during conflicts in this era. It's sometimes difficult to even attempt to fully realize the terrible scale of warfare. Try to fit thousands of men and turn hundreds of dice into the field. The best method is to have split the battles up into individual sections or abstract number of infantry to relevant scales. So an army with 100,000 infantry could be technically called 10-foot infantry. It's still a massive map, far more manageable. A force of 1,200 infantry would just be 12-footed. Just remember to keep the scale of place again. Split the battles up into flanks if need be. Get the horrifying scale. Defining a legacy. Advanced rules. Hashes. Glorious attack on the enemy. All charges deal +1d6. Flag bearer. Beacon of hope. I'll probably integrate. Kind of give them a little bit more characteristic, especially when it comes to like flag bearers and shit like that. I think that would be a better idea. Especially when you get things like, yeah, it's like, this is the chef detachment, the old drill sergeant. Now the war horses. Napoleonic scale combat. Let's see, placing the command of a larger force or many units, Napoleonic scale combat rules, macro, micro. Commander's always considered in the commander is always considered in danger. Advance, integrate certain concepts. Yeah, I'll probably be putting in things like the attrition system, because the entire idea is like, hey, you need to burn your. Like, you need to actually burn your, requisition every month to keep alive. Like, to keep your men alive. Your occupation, it's like, okay, this is like, this is bad ammunition's going to be kind of a thing. Like, yeah, if you get stuck into combat too long, like, if you keep making, like, these ammo, like, hey, have no fear, everybody, we've just run out of ammo in the field. It's stuff like that. But yeah, no, I'm feeling, not great, but I'm feeling like it's just a lot of fixes to make things, like, flow better and flow easier. Once things start going, I think we'll be good. I think the main hump we're going to have to deal with is commanders. That's a major issue. We need to make sure. Can we pillage to get our queue? We need supplies after all, and death doesn't need it. and the dead don't need it. Generally speaking, it would be things like that I would want to implement, like maybe in a more grand campaign of like, yeah, you roll up, you do not have supplies, please burn down everything. Just burn down shit. Just do it. Because you need shit now, and you need to pay your men, you need to feed your men, and you're gonna do it. No matter what's going on. And that was kind of the, like, kind of the bigger idea there. It's, don't quite know how I want to do things properly, but that's kind of the idea. I'll double check some ideas. But yeah, I'm feeling decent about it. Not perfect. I'm feeling decent. Kind of see here. You kind of see this idea here, like a commander being shot. It's very, very damaging for morale. It's like, hey, the guy leading us has been killed. This is bad, especially when you start getting all your majors killed. Yeah, it's kind of reworking some things, putting things in other places. I'm feeling good. I'm just gonna have to do it. I also need to make the fancy thing a little bit nicer. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're gonna be working with here. I'm feeling decent. Feeling, I think we can do it pretty reliably. Let's see, 2-hour stream, this should be fine. Tomorrow I'm gonna be working on the Parents Mecha video. The Parents Mecha video is gonna be, I don't think it's gonna be a very long video, because Parents Mecha doesn't really need to be talked about for too long. Because I like Parents Mecha. Here's the thing, I don't hate Parents Mecha. And it's hard for me to be like, I hate this game. I don't hate this game. I think this game is pretty good. It's... like, one of the things I need to, like, kind of talk about this particular kind of game is, this is more about doing, like, being every mecha at once, but no mecha at the same time. It's doing clearly its own thing. It's a mecha style anime role-playing game, but it's every single mecha style anime at once. This isn't a very tactically deep a game. It doesn't need to be, but that's not the point. It's supposed to be everything at once. And that's something you have to kind of deal with. And I think it'll be, I don't think it'll be a very long video. If that is the case, probably tomorrow I will do a video. I'll do it, not a video, I'll do a stream. And it will most likely be chillin'. We'll probably play a game. I got a game working. We got a game working. We can probably play that, enjoy ourselves a little bit, have some fun. Very chill game. I think it'll be a bit entertaining. It's even a free game too, because I really despise being popular on Twitch. I'm only going to play the most obscure bullshit possible. I've been debating on trying to find, like, a good video to play, but most of the video I play are not really good streaming games. Like, they really aren't great streaming games, so actually kind of, like, going over them is not like, oh boy, let's play, like, a fucking, like, single... like, oh man, I really want to play a single-player strategy game. I play, like, to give you an example, my most played game at this point is Empire Total War and Stellaris. Like, I play a lot of grand strategy games, or played, I should say, things like RimWorld, Dwarf Fortress. I've been playing a lot of Chivalry 2 lately. I do like playing these games. They're fun. The thing is, I'm not good at them. I'm gonna be honest with you, I fucking suck at these games. I'm not very good at those. Not very good at them. So they aren't as, like, entertaining to, wouldn't be as entertaining to watch, if that makes sense. Steam, why do you always give me like weird shit? I've been trying to invade Romania since your stream started. I'll watch anyway. Yeah, it's great. Your friends play weird shit. I play weird shit. They play weird shit. Like, we don't play fun games. Like, again, the game that I have planned for tomorrow is a game called Sky, SKYE. Little free game. A student project. I believe it's a student project, SKYE. Literally about the island of Skye. It's kind of that, like, it's very fun. It's it's not this. It's this game. It's not very hyper realistic at all. It's just a little plain game. Why do I want to play this plain game? Because it's fun and it's very simple and it's just nice little music. That's really it. I don't gotta think about it too hard because it's very fun. Nice little tiny game. And I will be able to complete it, the entire one, on probably a single stream because it's like a 2-hour game. But again, it's a free to play. It's literally a free to play university like project that these guys did, and I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. It's a very pretty game. I can stream it reliably because it's very simple, and I can put it in a window. The activate so it's not full on that. No, it's I made a point on Steam to never turn off the not safe for work tags. And most of my recommendations are like, hey, you played an action indie horror game one time. Here's a hardcore furry porn RPG. I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want this fucking hentai fucking furry visual novel. I don't want this. And I tell Steam, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. And they're like, are you sure about that? Or are you sure? I see more than one visual novel on there. I mean, like, yes, but they were good visual novels. But yeah, no, it's, I have a few ideas, because the thing is, like, my setup, I only have a single monitor. That's one thing. I only have a single monitor to actually kind of play games on, and... Hey, you played a horror game one time? Here's a game of true horror. Proceeds to recommend hardcore furry porn. Yes, you joke, but yes, that is legitimately my life. I don't know why, I don't know how it happened, it just do be that way. Probably like some of the few games I could like reliably like do it on a single monitor would be like Stardeus. I could play, I was thinking of playing like Hellish Court. I'm not good at Hellish Court, and it would literally be you guys all laughing at me as I get my shit rocked in that game. There was one that I was looking at, where is it? Play Signalis. Oh, that's a horror game. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I am a little bitch when it comes to horror. This is a known fact. It is a known fact of life. I am a baby coward when it comes to anything horror related. No. Play FNAF. No. See, the problem is I can't take FNAF seriously anymore. Because of all of the fucking drama that I've seen in it. Like, you would be amazed the amount of, like, FNAF drama there is. There's too much FNAF drama. And it's like, no, stop it. Stop it. Get help. I mean, I could play Super Hot. The Super Hot MCD, more specifically. Because I really hate Super Hot MCD. You just get to see me complain about it the entire time. I got a few games. I can't play Hogwarts Legacy. I know for a fact I cannot play Hogwarts Legacy. And you may be wondering, what do you mean you can't play Hogwarts Legacy? I don't want to because it's $60 fucking, and I'm not going to pay $60 for a fucking meme. Uh, Again, I am not that insane. Super Hot got a sequel, no? It did. Mind Control Delete. I do not like Mind Control Delete. You know what? Fuck it. I'll play fucking Mind Control Delete tomorrow. I will play Super Hot. I will play Mind Control Delete tomorrow, and I will tell people why I do not like it. But here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing. I actually adore Super Hot. Super Hot's easily one of my favorite games I ever played, and I hated every fucking moment of Mind Control Delete. Every single fucking moment of it. It is the most bizarre, like, horrifying thing I ever, like, it's like, how do you fuck this up? Like, how? Finally, someone else who understands why it's wrong. Like, they took the basic formula and fucked it up. It's really weird, like, the direction they went with it. It's like, what? No, don't do this. It's did you ever play the Did you ever play, like, the survival maps? Like the survival map. That's the entire game. The entire game is just the survival maps, effectively. And it's like, oh. And it's like, it is more Super Hot, but it's like very randomized. You get the same map over and over. And maybe I just got unlucky, but it was like, by the time you get like the fucking Yakuza map for the 8th time in a row, and you do the same shit, it's like, oh no, well, they just spawned enemies in random locations now, instead of like the very detailed puzzle. Like, to me anyway, the original Super Hot is a puzzle game. It's a puzzle game where you have a gun. And it's more about where you can sit down, you can pause for a second and be like, okay, let me reassess. There's a guy over there, there's a guy over there, I have a gun, and there's one guy coming around, I'm pretty sure someone's coming around the corner. So I want to go bang, throw my gun, advance, he's knocked out, bang, bang, grab his weapon, throw the weapon at the other guy, jump on him, bang, bang, okay, I win. You don't get that in MCD. That's like one of the things that I'm not like super happy about. Like, I get people who say they love MCD, and I understand if you like MCD. It did not. Exactly. If you really loved playing the arena, then it would be fun. If you liked playing the puzzles, because again, it was a puzzle. Anyone remember the elevator level in fucking Super Hot? I remember the elevator. I remembered playing that on Death on the fuck you mode. Ew. It was awful. It was genuinely the worst thing imaginable. I mean, you're also looking at the guy who beat Super Hot in every single mode you could. Like, twice. Hey, fucking, what was it? It was Super Hot mode? No, it's not Super Hot mode. It's, the one where you can possess enemies. That mode was horrible. Because you can't really hurt anybody. That's like the thing. You can't really hurt anybody. But you can definitely, like, injure, like, that's the only way to really kill them. You kind of get that, you kind of don't, it's weird. Fights in tight spaces. Oh, I love fights in tight spaces. I had a lot of fun with that game. I actually have the speed run achievement, actually. I won a run in under an hour. I went fucking hard on one thing. I did a randomized build with emphasis on wrestling. Grapple builds are the best in that fucking game. I really enjoy fights in tight spaces. Yeah, it's... Yeah, I could play super hot probably. I could play super hot probably. I could probably play fights in tight spaces. There's a few games I could play. Again, if you guys want to see something like super hot, or like if you guys want to see me play like fights in tight spaces, like tell me and I'll do it. Like easy, I'll play fucking fights in tight spaces more. I actually got inspired by fights in tight spaces for one game. That was a Fist of Chaos a little bit. Super hot TTRPG win. No idea how to fucking do it. Not a single idea. Where was the one? Like, yeah, like you can do some dumb. I do know for a fact, like, tight spaces, the second one you do is the hardest. The first mission is very easy. The second batches of missions in the prison, that's the run killer for me. If I do poorly there, it's over. And it's Jover. If I get in there, it's over. I suck and it's awful. If I can get past that, I can reliably get past the ninjas. The ninjas are terrible. They're not as bad because they have a lot of these like leaping mechanics and shit, and I'm like, okay, I can really manipulate the field here. But then you have the final boss of the ninjas. Fuck the final boss. Fuck that guy. I hate that boss with a passion. Jade Staff missions are the worst fucking missions. They are the worst. They are so unfun. The final boss for him. Ugh. But that's also kind of like the final boss of the I Complete, the ending, the last major group for them. The last ones for them, that can be either really easy or really terrible. There's no in between. That's why, like, everyone will tell you, like, wrestling decks are the way to go in that game. Wrestling decks win games. Because if you can do a wrestle, or if you have a wrestle time, you're going to be able to grab people and throw them on the fucking ground. It doesn't seem very valuable. It doesn't seem very nice, but it is. It is incredibly valuable. It is incredibly amazing. Because you will fucking win. That is how you win. Because you grapple the shit out of them. But I've just nerded out over fucking a single fucking card game for a while, so I'm going to call it there. Godspeed, good luck. Hopefully everyone has a nice rest of the night. I will see you all tomorrow, probably, which we'll be playing something. I don't know what we'll be playing now, because you put doubt in my mind. I will see you all then. Good night. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. So...